Welcome back to The Standpoint. This is episode 17. Today we have a very special guest, but before we dive into that, I want to introduce my co-host, Jordan Bohan. Jordan, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing well, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Have you been noticing lately, Jordan's been on Twitch a lot. So how's the Twitch grind been, man?
Dude, I'm out here grinding Fortnite. I'm going to be the next Nick Merck, so I'm looking forward to the future.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear, man. If you guys don't already do that, follow Jordan on Twitch. Jordan, what's your at name?
Jorbo3.
Jorbo3. Sounds good. All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening. Episode 17. Time's flying by a lot fast, so it's exciting to be here. Make sure to keep giving us those 5-star ratings on Apple Podcasts. Make sure to be giving us those reviews too, positive, negative. I don't care as long as they're 5 stars. And then keep interacting with us on Twitter, Instagram, and then YouTube will have more original content. So be ready for that. But without further ado, we have a very special guest in honor of the UNC Iowa game on Tuesday. We have Mr. Marcus Paige, former UNC guard. Marcus, how you doing?
Good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Jordan, can you walk the people through how you know Marcus?
Yeah, so Marcus played with my brothers. He grew up in my hometown, Marion. Kind of been close with him ever since I was little, really, and really looked up to him growing up. And whenever he came back from UNC, we always would get in the gym and work out together back in Limar. So always been pretty close with Marcus. And one of the reasons why I've continued to try to improve my game was because looking up to him and watching him play at Limar, he was definitely an idol for myself.
Marcus, what would you, right off the bat, we'll start. Power rank all of the Bohannon brothers from your experience seeing them at Limar.
We just going straight to the hard
question. Straight at it, yep.
Are we talking about basketball or are we talking about my favorites?
We could do basketball first. Performance, Limar High School.
Okay, so I'm going to just do this my own way, obviously. So I looked up to Jason. He's just how Jordan said he looked up to me. When I was in 4th, 5th grade, man, Jason was like a god, and everybody in our area looked up to him. He kind of started the whole Limar basketball wave of people really, really falling in love with the game and trying to be good. That being said, I won a state championship with Matt, and I played probably the most with Matt. So I'm gonna put Matt number 1. And you and I beat us when I was in college, so he got the last laugh. So I'll put Matt.
You never played that game though. You never played that game.
Yeah, I know, but it still hurts. It still hurt to watch. We'll get into that a little later, but I think Matt probably gets number 1 just because we had the closest relationship. And then Zach was like an older brother to me, for sure. When I was a freshman, he was a senior at Limar. Zach was great. I still stay in touch with him every now and then. And then I'll say Jason, just due to how I looked up to him. And then Gordy. Then little Jordan, bro. Really though, when I was playing, we would play against Matt all the time in AAU. We were kind of rivals before we started playing together. And Jordan would be like this big, going out on the court on halftime, chucking up half-court shots and just cashing out. And I knew he had a chance to be something. Like from the time he was really little, he was just such a gym rat. So I'm glad to see he's grown into such a good player, man.
Jordan still chucks up threes, but it's on TV though, so that's the difference.
Exactly. Yeah.
Those tornado and what was it the nice days with you guys? Those were some battles watching you guys play. Because I think it was against your team.
That was really the start.
Yeah, that Matt broke his arm was against you and Casey Semler. Him and Casey
I remember
good friends, but I remember there's some bad blood back in the younger days.
That was really the beginning of our rivalry, which turned into a good friendship when we ended up playing in high school together. So it was pretty cool to see. Your family's always kind of been on my path, so it's been fun to follow all 4 of you guys and be a part of it.
Marcus, so walk us through coming from Limar, from Iowa. Obviously, not necessarily a big state, not a huge basketball state, right? So you kind of got put on the map for that. Explain your journey. Were you under-recruited at first? How did you get your name to the national spotlight, being from a state that, doesn't produce the same talent like Chicago or New York?
Yeah, I mean, we have that reputation of not being like a DC, Chicago, New York, but we always have good players. We always have quality. And it just so happened that my group coming through was able to win a lot of tournaments. and that was able to qualify us for some of the bigger Nike events and get me in some of these camps so I could get some national exposure. And my AAU coach, Hank Huddleston, he had players that had previously played for Coach Williams, so he kind of helped in that regard. But honestly, it was the group of guys I had. So we had, Mike Gasell played at Iowa, obviously, Adam Woodbury, that we were kind of like the nucleus of our team. And we went and won all these tournaments against teams that had high-profile players. And then that kind of threw us onto the national stage. And from there, like, you just kind of have to take advantage of it. I was invited to some Nike camps, got to go to the NBA camp, LeBron camp, and then once you're kind of in that spotlight, you just kind of blossom from there. And I was able to get some attention early. It helps getting some early offers. I think when I was in 8th grade, Iowa State and UNI offered me. And that was more so of just like, hey, we hope he ends up being good. He's in state. And then Iowa came along. And then honestly, Jordan knows, once you get a couple schools under your belt, then the bigger schools will start to kind of see what's going on. And from there, I just kind of kept going. And then I was able to really take a big leap from my sophomore to my junior year. And that was when I kind of got on like the All-American stage and everything.
Was Iowa ever on? They obviously offered, but having the other point guard, Mike Gasell, on your AAU team, was that ever an option for you to think about being an Iowa kid and going to Iowa, or was once Mike Gasell committed there, were you just looking for that dream school of UNC?
Yeah, so I mean, I talked to Coach McCaffrey and Coach Andrew Francis when he was there at the time. We talked, as much as possible within the NCAA rules. I don't know what they were back then, but we talked all the time. And me and Mike weren't. It wasn't like a pick one situation. So when Mike decided to go there, it didn't eliminate me from anything. My whole thing with Iowa was when I first started getting recruited on a big stage, it was still Todd the Glider. And then, Fran came in, and it was kind of a transition period to where it was hard for me to see necessarily the vision that he had. And I believed in him, and he was a great guy. I really loved talking to him and everything. But when you have like my dream school in North Carolina, because my Final Four were Carolina, Kansas, Virginia, and Iowa. And I truly believe that if the timeline had looked different, maybe if Fran had got in a couple of years earlier and started to lay the groundwork for obviously what he has now, which is a great program running, it could have been a little bit different. But at the end of the day, like, I just was too pulled towards, playing at one of the elite schools. And, Mike and Adam tried really hard to get me to be on board because, we played every tournament together and we really could have done something. But it was just, the timing was just a little off for me. And, looking back, could have done it differently, but obviously it worked out well for everybody. So it was nothing that Fran didn't do. I mean, my dad still talks to Coach McCaffrey from time to time.
It's funny you say that because I saw your dad running out. I was running out of huddles after I made the game winner against Northwestern. I see Marcus Paige's dad dapping me up and giving me a hug, saying congrats.
Dude,
I'm like,
my dad will talk to me about your guys' games. Like, he's a big Iowa fan. Like, when I grew up, Dean Oliver, like, my first pair of basketball shoes has like Duez Henderson, Glenn Worley, Brody Boyd, like all these autographs on it. I still have them. Like, that's for the OG Iowa fans. The young ones probably won't know, but like Luke Recker, all those guys. I was obsessed with them. So like there was a foundation there. They just hit like a rough patch at the time when I was really blowing up. And then obviously they've stabilized and turned into a really good program since then. But yeah, my dad still tells me he keeps up with the games. He wears his Iowa hat every time he goes to the grocery store and stuff. So there's definitely no bad blood there. Where we're from, you kind of have to be all about the Hawkeyes. So I still follow and definitely enjoy watching you guys, but it just didn't work out for me.
My question is going to be, which loss do you take more personally, against Iowa State in March Madness or UNI?
So I mean, I went 0-3 against the Iowa school. My sophomore year in the tournament, that one hurt because we were winning and we had a chance to, I think, play in the guard in the next round against UConn, who ended up winning if we had won that game. And that was kind of the year where I had my best year, obviously, that year. But they were a good team. DeAndre Kane, Georges, they had Melvin Edgem. They were kind of stacked. So we weren't necessarily expected to win that game. Then you have my junior year, Iowa comes down and beats us in our gym. My best friend, Mike Gasell, was like, Mike Sell was literally my best friend from the time I was in 6th, 7th grade all the way up through college. You know, we didn't get to talk as much in college, but every AAU tournament, we were together all the time, talking to each other all the time. Like, we were literally inseparable. So, like, for him to come in my gym and get a fast break dunk and, you know, it hurt me. But at the same time, like, part of me it was kind of cool because, like, I was always the one that got all the attention on the AAU circuit and stuff. And then for him and Adam and them to have that moment where they got to come in our house and beat us and be like the main thing, like, it was kind of cool. Like, obviously I can't say that at the time, but like looking back, it was kind of cool. And then the same thing with Matt, like, you know, again, Matt was his senior year of high school. He led the team in scoring, led us to a state championship. But obviously, because I'm going to North Carolina, I get a lot of the attention, the media hype, all that stuff. So for him to have that moment where he, you know, him and Wes Varsman, another friend of mine, get to have the number one team in the country show up to their house and beat them, you know, it's pretty cool. But like, obviously I'm salty because I go back home and I have to hear about, like, why'd you go to North Carolina? You lost to all the Iowa schools. Like, you know, I still hear that sometimes. But I think the worst one was the Iowa one in Chapel Hill, because like they come down to my land and take what's mine. Like, that's tough.
Yeah. I want to go back to your recruiting. You touched on you were close to the school of Kansas in your top 3. I heard, I'm not going to say from who, but I don't know if this is true or not. I want to hear your opinion on it. Was it true? We talked about this earlier on podcast, how when I committed to Iowa, I called the schools that recruited me and said I wasn't going to come there, just to kind of bridge the gap, I guess, with the connection. So I heard when you called Kansas and Coach Bill Self, you said you're going to North Carolina and he hung up the phone on you. Is that true or false?
How do you get these sources?
I'm not. I have a lot of sources and connections. I just want to know if this is true or false.
Coach Robertson. Throwing him under the bus there. Yeah, I mean, you know, like, so when I called Coach McCaffrey and I talked to Coach Francis, like I said, I probably talked to him more than any coach, assistant or head coach, of all the people that recruited me. They were very cool. Like, you know, they understood. They wished me luck, that sort of thing. When I called Tony Bennett, he's one of the best people I know. He's very, you know, gracious. He said, hey, like, the only thing better than going to Carolina is beating them. And then they won the ACC the first 2 years I was in school. So, and then, I mean, Coach Self, when you're that level, you have 2 options. You can be humble and you can, you know, be cool, or you can be salty. And I think they really thought I was going there. And because when I went there, I went to late night in the fog my sophomore year. And I told Coach Self, I was like, look, I want to come to Kansas. And my parents made me like go home and sleep on it and talk things through. But I was ready to commit. So I think the situation kind of made it go that way. But, you know, some coaches are better about that than others. And I don't think he was very happy about that. But, you know, that's just how it goes.
How much money did Bill Self offer you?
I wish. Yeah, honestly, so like, I'm close with a lot of the guys from my class because, you know, you go to the All-American game, you go to the Jordan Brand game. You know, I know some things, but like, I was never one of those guys that got a bag thrown at him. And I kind of wish I was looking back. Like, I could have used a duffel. But that's just really not how Coach Williams does things. Now, I know when Iowa fans see this, they're going to be on the message board talking about, yeah, he's just like, whatever. But for real, like, he was just never somebody like to do that or to even entertain that option. So, and I don't think I come across as somebody that's like looking for the bag. But I would have, you know, that's unfortunate, I guess.
So we talked about Kansas. We're going to touch on, obviously, we're coming up with the game against Iowa, playing against UNC. We're going through the Carolina break today. That was our focus in practice for a 2-day prep. Yeah. How much did you guys run the Carolina break? Because Coach Spurrell at Iowa is just hammering it left and right, saying you guys run it every time down transition. Were you guys one of those teams that ran Carolina break every single time?
Yeah, so
can you guys break down the Carolina break for all the simpletons out there?
Yeah, it's really not a super complex thing. It's just when you run it right, it's tough to guard, and it transitions into the way we play our offensive philosophy. But honestly, like misses, free throws, any situation. That's the first option that we look for every time. Obviously, primary break. If you can score with that offense, it's fine. Then it flows right into basically what we do is try to screen the big guys into the post, whether it's with the back screen or a big-to-big cross screen, and we feed the ball inside. That's been Coach Williams' motto, his his MO for 20 some years. You play through the bigs and you out rebound teams, and that's how you win. So I'm sure they've been talking about it a lot, and I'm sure you guys have guarded that back screen a million times. But come Tuesday night, I guarantee they get it once or twice, because if you do it enough, like, it's just what happens. We ran it a lot. We didn't always get a lot out of it, but it kind of wears teams down, and it gives us the structure to play out of. So it wasn't my favorite, because I had to give the ball up so much. But
that's why I was wanting to ask you the question, because you gave up. The point guard gives the ball up a lot in transition.
Yeah, every time swing through the big, and then the other guard sets the back screen for the lob. If nothing, the big screen for each other. We try to feed the ball in the post. Like, that's just how we play. My sophomore year, we played a little differently, because we hadn't really established any bigs that scored the ball really well. So we played a lot more pick and roll and a lot more spread offense, sort of like they did when Kobe White and Cam Johnson and then were there a couple of years ago. But this year we have 4 big guys that are really good, a couple talented young ones, and then Garrison Brooks is a preseason All-American or whatever. So the emphasis for this team has been throw the ball inside at all, in all situations, because the backcourt is young. The wings are not necessarily the most experienced, but the front court is going to be the bread and butter of this team. And I'm sure Coach this week is talking to them about getting the ball inside every single time.
You talked about going to a game at the Fog when you were in high school, and the atmosphere and everything like that. You guys played a lot of top-tier talent, a lot of big games. Which arena was the hardest for you to play in when you were in college?
So, I mean, the obvious answer is Cameron, just because of its seats like 7,000, 8,000 people, and it's just madness in there. Like, it's not a gym for a program like that quality of Duke. Like, they need to have a 15,000 seat arena, so it's nuts in there. But honestly, the best environment that I remember in my 4 years was when Indiana was ranked number 1 in the country, playing in their gym. And you obviously know, like, that gym is insane, and like the walls go straight up. Like, it's just a very unique. There's not a lot of gyms like it, so I would probably say that one was number 1. But also, their team was really good. That always helps. That's what Coach Williams always used to say. We don't play against. You don't play against gyms. You play against teams. And it's like, we never won at Virginia because of that. They always had a very, very good team. Obviously, when we played Indiana, they were stacked. So I'd say Indiana, Virginia, Duke, and see if I can think of like an unorthodox one. Michigan State. We played Michigan State number 1. It was a fun gym, really fun gym. They had Gary Harris, Keith Appling, Big Boy, Adrian Payne. They had a nice team, and their student section's a lot of fun. Like, they surround the court and everything. A couple Big Ten spots, man. Look at you know what I'm saying?
That best conference in the entire country, when you say.
When I try to think about which teams win titles,
I
don't think
I feel you. They can't close out.
Your brother could have made that argument a little better if they would have finished the job at Wisconsin.
Talking about not closing out, we'll go straight to the
right to the heart, Jordan. Come on, man.
So you have the biggest shot in maybe NCAA history, and you guys come down, and the trailer, no one guards the trailer, and he sinks a 3. What's going through your mind when that all happened?
Honestly, man, so it's been about 4 years. Mm-hmm. I don't think about it as much as I used to, now that I'm an old man. But honestly, nothing really went through my mind at all when I hit the shot. Like, I was still, because we were down 10 with maybe 4 minutes left or 5 minutes left. So that's when I kind of got emotional. I started getting a little teary-eyed, because I was like, damn, like, the clock is ticking. You're a senior. This is your moment, whatever. I thought we were gonna win. We were up 5 at half or something. So it was like for everything to go as south as it did, and we felt like we were getting screwed by the refs. Everything was going wrong, and then we just started clawing back. And I was still kind of in that mentality when I hit the shot. You know, we tried to get the guys in the huddle for the timeout. You look around, like people are throwing seat cushions, like Michael Jordan 20 rows up, going crazy. I think we had like 50 some former players all in that section, you know, Harrison Barnes, Michael Jordan, Vince, Antoine, Rasheed Wallace, like you name it, they were all right there. They were going nuts, you know, and you can see them. And then my parents are in the front row. Cause you know, like when Zach was in the Final Four, like your family's like right there, right? Yeah. You could basically like stare right at them during the huddle and everything. So it was surreal, but I was just thinking like, 4 seconds and we get to overtime, we're good, bro. They just choked a 10-point lead. Like they don't want what's coming in overtime. You have to think like that as a competitor. But then when that happened, like as soon as it left his hand, everyone knew it was good. It was like the ball was in slow motion, but like the way he caught it was so clean, and he's a good shooter. He didn't have a great night, but like the story just led up too perfect for him not to hit that. And we had a complete breakdown in terms of what was said in the huddle versus what happened. I don't want to get into like blame people or anything, but we had the instruction was to cover the goal at first in case they try to throw it long, but if they throw it 6 feet in and have to go full court, obviously you build out the defense. Like you don't need to cover the goal if they inbound it to Ryan Archidiakono 10 feet away from the baseline. And we just didn't get that for whatever reason, and he just flipped it back and cashed out. And then the thing that really kind of makes me upset is looking back. So my year, he hits the shot and the streamers and the confetti and the cannons go off instantly. Bang!
That was brutal.
Right away. So like that stuff is just flying all on us. And we're in NRG Stadium or whatever it's called in Houston. It's like a 20-minute walk all the way back. Like the court is so far from the locker room, and you just got to walk past Charles Barkley up there dancing and making fun of Kenny Smith. Like people are just going crazy. Like people are piled everywhere. There's 70,000 people in it, and you just walking back, just mind completely blank. And that was tough. And then see, now I'm starting to blank just thinking about it. You're putting me back in a tough spot. But damn, yeah, it was crazy, man. But the game was high level. And so what I was gonna say is then the next year who won the next year? Oh, we did. Carolina won the next year. And it took like 5 minutes for them to shoot the confetti. Like Theo Pinson's running around with the ball, like they're celebrating and stuff, and the cannons and the confetti and stuff don't go off. And I'm like, bro, I feel like that was because they did us dirty the year before. So that's my legacy, is delaying the confetti to the league national championship.
So we went into the vaults and we looked at some old tweets to Jordan. Jordan's a very polarizing figure. Some people like him, some people hate him. It just depends. So we found some tweets of people, calling Jordan like annoying, his defense annoying, pestering. They called him Grayson Allen and stuff like that. So, so my question is, who is the most annoying player who's guarded you throughout your career, and why is it Grayson Allen?
Oh, Grayson. He was friends with some of our guys in college, or in leading up to college. They played together. Him and Joel Berry and D'Angelo Russell. I think they were all on the same AAU team or something. But like, it's something about when you get to Duke, you just have to embody the Duke, the Duke brand. Because I've known 5 or 6 guys that go there and been like super cool dudes, but then like I swear, bro, something switches up when they get that Duke blue on. But honestly, I don't even think he would be on that spot if I had to pick. That's a tough question of who the most annoying player is. But one thing I love, because I try to follow you guys as much as I can, is like how much Iowa State fans can't stand this dude. Because I got some friends that are big Iowa State fans. And like just that whole thing, and like the way he's provocative on Twitter, but like isn't afraid to speak his voice, or even like the way I respect the way you call out the NCAA's hypocrisy and a lot of the stuff that they do and whatnot. I think it's good that you do that and should continue. But just the fact that that makes so many people mad that have no idea what it's like to be a student athlete or what it's like to be like just a regular dude that hoops. So I want you to keep that up. Focus on the game, but keep that up. It's fun to have people, as your enemy a little bit for motivation.
I feel like in another world, in another life, Jordan should be wearing those that Duke blue. I don't know why. I feel like he's
Duke blue.
Yeah, that Dookie blue. So I guess Jordan, can you tell Marcus about your little confrontation with the Western Illinois point guard? You don't have to go into detail, but can you give him that story and ask if anything similar happened to him?
All right, so we played this garbage team, Western Illinois. Respect the hell.
Respectfully garbage.
Trash.
Respectfully Dookie.
I respect Coach Jeter. I'm sure you know Coach Jeter, Marcus. He coached at Milwaukee for 11 years, went to Minnesota, close to Coach Ryan at Wisconsin. But they had this point guard that he led the EYBL in assists. He's a freshman. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, he thought like he was the hottest player ever to walk on the court at Iowa. This dude starts talking shit the entire game to me. And I really didn't say much to him other than like he was wearing braces. So I mentioned something about him wearing braces, which I don't think he liked. But so after the game, I went on Snapchat and
sick burn, man. Sick burn.
No, but after the game, I went on Snapchat and I said, number 22 in Western Illinois was the worst Division I basketball player I've ever played against. I did realize I put it on my public story. There's like
you knew what you're doing.
Yeah,
you knew.
Nobody's
So like 35 people screenshot it, and like 5 hours later, this dude's in my DMs, and like the whole city of Chicago is in my DMs tweeting at me. So we'll transition to that, like talking shit on the court. I feel like you weren't much of a much not of a shit talker growing up and continue to not be. Did you have any confrontations like that in college or professionally?
Yeah, once you play in the G League, you gotta either like, that's a whole nother story. But like in college, I didn't talk a ton my first few years because, like, bro, I'm like 5'11", 165. Like, there's not a lot of winnable confrontations I can get in. But when we got Joel Berry and when we got Nice, like that 2014 class came in, we started getting pretty good. And people would start coming at us and talking to us. Like, I never really talked junk first because, like, I'll be chilling. But then, like, if someone talks to me, I love, like, as soon as you open the door, like, I'll trash talk all day. And I'm the person that starts fights, and then like I'll get a fight going and then I'll just dip out. Like, that's just kind of how I am, Like, remember one time we played UNLV at home. Anthony Bennett caught the ball in the block, one bounce, boom, dunked on one of our backup center, calls him a bitch. Right to his face, in front of everybody. So, like, for the rest of the game, bro, every time he caught the ball, we was just jawing at him the whole time. He ended up with like 25 or something, but like, just stuff like that. Like, it's just fun. Like, we played Duke. You got Quinn, you got Tyler Thornton, you got Brandon Ingram. All those guys, like, you just have to trash talk because in that environment, if you're not talking trash, you just like, it makes you feel weak. So, I got plenty of stories, but like, for me, it was always fun when I was a freshman. And so like we had like Reggie Bullock, PJ Hairston, dudes that just really don't play around. And they would just bully people the whole time. And it kind of taught me how to find my way as a trash talker. So then by the time I was an upperclassman, I would just pick on like underclassmen, pick on guys that I know weren't mentally strong up here. Just at the free throw line, I would talk to their teammates about how they was going to miss, all that kind of stuff. And I got a lot of that from your brother, bro. Matt was a huge trash talker. But I'm glad to see that you talk a little trash too.
See, I find it more
back it up.
I find it more soothing. Like, I remember we played at Indiana. There's this dude talking shit from the sideline, this fan, and like that shit gets me going. Like, when the fans start talking to the side, and I can actually like talk back to them. It's a little different now with COVID, but I find
Yeah.
that fire, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, dude. Finding a fan or like somebody like, because you always have those guys. You go out to early to warm up. Like we were in Rupp, we go out to warm up early, and like there's these three dudes that are just like they won't stop talking. I'm like the first one out there. They're talking to me. They're talking to Kennedy Meeks. Blah blah blah. So I'm like, all right, cool. Every bucket got something to say to them. I'm pointing at them. I'm talking to them, like making them feel stupid. Like that. That is what's so much fun, and it kind of sucks. Like especially for you guys this year being a top 5 team, you guys are gonna have a target on your back, but you don't have the like you miss out on some of the environments, which is a
Yeah.
bummer. But like I'm sure you would trade, being able to play for not being able to. But that's one thing I wish you could have this year is being the alpha team, being the top dog, and then having to respond to that, whether you're at home and people are coming for you or you're on the road and you're defending your top rank or whatever. So you can just try to imagine it.
Yeah, right.
So we're gonna switch it up a little bit. I have a little game we're gonna play. Okay, it's called underrated, overrated. Pretty self-explanatory. Is it underrated? Is it overrated? And a little reason why. Okay. You don't want to answer.
Okay.
You don't have to. So the first question is I'm gonna give you a list of players and you tell me. Tyler Hansbrough,
Oh no.
underrated, overrated.
Is there a properly rated?
You can do proper. You can say just right.
Yeah, I mean he's like probably one of the best players in the modern era for college basketball. Like a lot of people don't like him. He's not the most personable guy, but dude, he scored like 3,000 points.
Yeah. My next one, Grayson Allen.
I think underrated.
Oh,
I think people
Really?
hated him so much that they thought he wasn't. That they would try to change that to his basketball. And that dude can play, man. He's in the NBA for a reason.
mm. All right. Luke May,
Luke May, underrated.
underrated. That's
Yeah,
true.
underrated.
Why do you say that?
Because, bro, he was, his last year, he was averaging 17 and 12 or 17 and 11. He was doing that to our NBA bigs as a freshman. And I was telling people were always asking me, Marcus, like, are you surprised at what Luke May has been able to do? I'm like, no, like he's been busting their ass from the time he got on campus. He just didn't have no room to play because he's playing behind 2 first-round picks. Like, give him a break. And now he's in Italy, having a good year and everything. You can chime in on these too. I don't know if you played again or, damn, you're young. You've seen
Yeah.
Luke.
I'm 4 years younger.
Jordan was in diapers.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, one more year with me and Marcus would have played together in high school. One more year.
Yeah, that would have been dope.
Yeah.
You would have hated it.
If I had Zach on my
me and
team, I would have
Andy
hated that shit. Andy Henry, bro. No way.
God, what a time.
The next one's Brandon Ingram.
Oof. In college or NBA?
College.
College, probably underrated. NBA, maybe a different story.
I was trying to give you something to work with. No, you think it was underrated in college, Brandon Ingram?
Yeah, he was good. Bro, we recruited him for so long. And he just wouldn't, we recruited him from the time he was 8th grade. He just wouldn't come to Carolina, bro. He was so good. Even though he's 150 pounds, he was a bucket.
All right. High
Adam
school.
Woodbury? No.
high school Jordan Bohannon.
High school Jordan Bohannon?
Under or overrated?
It's tough because he didn't people kind of get mad that they were the team that broke the state tournament streak or whatever, but he never had a setting that I had or that Matt had or that Jason had where we just had a lot of guys that could play. So it's tough to say, man. High school basketball is kind of fake anyway. So
Yeah.
That's facts.
I'll say I don't know. That's a tough one.
I'll just say overrated.
I thought for sure you were saying overrated.
Probably overrated though.
So expand on that real quick. How is high school basketball fake?
So Iowa high school basketball, you'll play against teams with 6'3" center, 6'4" center. Like the talent's just not quite as deep as playing in some other areas or certain other regions of the country where basketball is kind of more of a thing. And then there's no shot clock. There's no like it's just the way teams will run motion or flex for like 45 seconds. When they're up by 4, it's like, come on, bro, shoot the ball, and it kills the development of a lot of players, in my opinion. The 3-point line is like 12 feet. Like it's just it's very hard.
12
If you go to a high
feet.
school game, it's hard to evaluate. Unless somebody really just stands out, if anybody's good, because the rules are so like, oh, I did not like high school basketball like that.
Talk about
Wait a minute, one more, Jordan.
All right, okay.
Take it easy there. All
No,
right.
I had a good question. I got a good question.
One more. All right,
How about
underrated.
Zach as a host? Underrated, overrated.
Underrated,
Jordan,
underrated.
What do you think?
He absolute fire. The GOAT. So the last person is Chris Jenkins. Underrated, overrated. Now, why is he overrated? Please say it. We need the views, Marcus.
I sound like a hater.
We need the.
I sound like a hater if I say overrated. Plus, see, then the problem is he sees this, he'll clip it, retweet it with a picture of him like this. Like this. It's like that's an L, bro. That's an L. I'm not
I feel you.
take, so I'm gonna just.
I respect that.
I got muted. I
There you go.
didn't get the answer. But, you know what I'm saying? I feel like you could fill in the gap on that.
Yeah. Well, I'll double voice in. You'll be good.
All right, we're gonna go back to high school basketball. We're gonna talk about when you guys played Ames with Doug McDermott, Harrison Barnes, Boo Boo. That was one of the most electric games I've ever seen. Wells Fargo Arena in Des Moines was the most packed I think the place has ever been for a state tournament game. Talk about like how that was kind of, I guess, opening your mind to what college basketball might be, because you played against such high-level athletes. Obviously, you played in the EYBL circuit, but that was kind of a more of a structured game for the first time, and you were young and kind of just getting your feet wet for the first time.
Yeah, man. That was crazy because I still think we had a better team if Nate Hudson played. But that's a whole story we could go down. Nate, if you're watching this, I'm never letting that go. But, Coach Williams was at that game, and it's just weird because he had no idea who I was. Like his future point guard's on the court, and he would have never known. I was some 5'8", scrawny little dude trying to keep up with Boo Boo, and not doing that great of a job. But it was cool, man, because like Harrison's kind of a once in a generation kind of guy to come through Iowa. And then Doug McDermott is the National Player of the Year, and they're on the same team. They ran through the state. Like people in Iowa love basketball. Lamar had a dynasty going, and Ames had a once in a generation type group. And, people really appreciate it. And they still talk about it to this day. Like, oh, when Harrison had the fast break, it's just like, it was a cool moment for basketball in our state. And I think that kind of sprang into something more. Like, so you had them, then you had Jared Uthoff come through, Player of the Year. He played in the NBA. Then you have my class come through. I come through, go to Carolina, be an All-American, play in the NBA. Like that all happened in such a short amount of time that it was like, dang, these guys from Iowa can really hoop. I feel like we were putting Iowa on the map in a way that hadn't been before, because when Jason and, Carlton Reed and those guys were going at it, like they were good players and it was a good time, but like there wasn't any like national exposure to it. So I feel like it kind of upped us a level, gave us a little bit more respect, and especially regionally and in my opinion, nationally. So now it's like you run into certain guys in the circuit, you're like, yo, them Iowa boys, you get a little bit more respect, which was very cool for me. And then now you see like it shows when you got Iowa in the top 5. You had Iowa State had a great run when they had Monte Morris and those guys. Like people love basketball in the state, and for those programs to be good, for players to play in the NBA, to play at high level overseas, like it's very cool to see. Like just Iowa guys alone. I saw Anthony Clemens this year, played against Devin last year, played against Jared last year. Aaron White's been in EuroLeague. Like it's nice to see, man. I'm always partial to my Iowa boys, whether they played at Iowa State, or they grew up in Iowa. Like it's just good for the brand. Because like I said, people really do love basketball in Iowa, and we don't get the rep of Indiana or Kentucky or North Carolina or New York, but we be hooping out here, man.
That's facts.
I'll put you on the spot here. You mentioned a lot of those great past players that come from Iowa, the state and high school. Who is the best high school basketball player from Iowa that you've seen?
That I've seen.
Yes. In like this
Well,
generation.
I didn't watch myself. So honestly, if I'm being real, it would be Harrison. Harrison 1. I put Jason 2. His older brother. That dude, he was frying people in high school, man. Like, and the way he was doing it, like he was getting dunks, he was shooting like double between the legs, step backs. Like he had a style about him and a swagger about him that like not a lot of white dudes like regular like he don't look like he's gonna come give you 40 and he gives you 40 in every way that you want. Like I remember maybe third or fourth grade, I went and watched them. They played at Kennedy, and it was like one of the biggest games of the decade, man. You remember that?
Yeah, they wouldn't let anyone in the game.
Yeah,
because it's so crowded.
Then I would say like Matt Gatens. Gator was crazy at City High. I haven't seen some of the younger guys. Apparently, some dude, does he play at Ohio State now?
DJ Carnes at Marquette now. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I saw some video of him when I was in the pros over here, like some courtside films or city
courtside film.
Yeah, like I'm like, bro, they doing that in Iowa now. So like, but I would probably say Harrison, obviously number 1. He was the 7th pick in the draft, like number 1 high school player in the country. I played with Doug in AAU, Doug McDermott, and even then, like I still have to put him down just because like you watch him and you're like, what? And then you look and he has 20 and 12. And then Jason and Matt Gatens and Grant Gibbs and them guys, like those are my guys. So I'd probably put them in there.
Going off of that,
I might be missing a few, but
I think Jordan's like at the bottom of that list.
I didn't make a
honorable mention. The next question is, who's the most underrated player to come from Iowa that only people from high school there, growing up there, kind of a legend within like the hallways know about, but nationally they don't?
Ooh, man, I wish you had asked me this question like before we recorded so I could really think about it. Because I feel like there's a lot of dudes that are nice that, don't get that type of. Have you thought about this question, Jordan?
Do you remember Greg Herford?
What was that, Jordan?
It's either Greg or Rodney.
It's Rodney.
You're acting stupid, bro. You're stupid.
That dude was a problem, bro. He was like 5'10", 300 pounds. He had
he was that big.
Oh, that's a Linmar joke.
But he gave people buckets, bro.
Dang, man. Let me think, bro. I don't know. That's a tough question. I'll keep thinking about it while we're talking. I might have to come back to that one.
Yeah, fair.
Dang.
Jordan, you got next one.
Greg Horford, bro. What was his last name? I can't remember his last name.
Hereford.
Greg
Hereford.
He was an issue, dude. He was an issue.
I think I'm friends with him on Facebook. I might have to check in and see how he's doing.
Dang. I don't even know how to transition from that. We can cut this.
I got you.
Holy shit. My mind's blown from thinking that, dude.
Bro, he's an idiot. You're an idiot.
You said 5'10", 300 pounds, Jordan? That's like a fucked up my player.
He was a problem.
Dude, he was so funny.
I can't even think of a question. I don't even know.
I got you. I'll bring us back on the road. I'll bring us back on the road with something really serious, okay? All right, Marcus, give me your best Roy Williams impersonation.
Oh man, I don't have a good one, bro.
Come
he's so country.
You got one,
bro. He's so country. I'm from Iowa, and he's from like way in the cut, North Carolina. He's so country, bro.
Like Dag Nabbit.
Yeah.
Dag Nabbit, Marcus, get back on the break.
He gonna tell the team. He's gonna tell the team on Monday before they travel after practice. He's gonna be like, "Hey, man, I believe in you guys." I can't do it in my country Southern accent, but hey, we feel like we're good enough. I know we feel like we're good enough, and we're not playing in Chapel Hill, but we like to go on the road and take people's brownies. He used to always say that. I'm like, bro, what? He's like, we'll go on the road and steal people's brownies. I like winning at home, but I like taking the brownies on the road. I'm like, bro, this man is. He's
What
like,
kind
he's got
of
so many corny little like slogans and sayings and stuff, and he won't swear unless he's like super mad. So he'll give you the dang nabbit, dag gummit, all that stuff. And then like after games, like we'll win a game, and he calls his wife like Wicked Wanda. Her name's Wanda, but he calls her Wicked Wanda. He's like, you're like, last question, I gotta go. Wicked Wanda's waiting for me. If I'm his wife, bro, I'm mad. I'm squaring up with him as soon as he walks in the door. Like, he'll call me Wicked in front of ESPN cameras. But he's that's just him, bro. He's super, super down to earth, super country. Knows who he is. Doesn't try to be cool or you're never gonna see him on Twitter or anything like that. Like he just wears those sweater vests and does his best.
Let's talk about the brotherhood at North Carolina. Just kind of the legacy that before you, just knowing the guards that played before you, that played in the NBA, and kind of just that rich history of North Carolina, just being a part of that. How has that been transitioning from high school to college and professionally, and still keeping in touch with all those guys?
Yeah, I mean it's been awesome. So like when I committed, they had Kendall Marshall, and my senior year of high school, we're playing up in Minnesota at the Timberwolves Arena. I committed, and then like a couple months later, we're playing a game in January, and no, this was the next year in January. I've already signed my letter of intent, and he texted me, and he's like, "Hey, I hope you're ready." I was like, "What you mean? I hope you're ready? Like, what are you talking about?" Because they were number one in the country, and he was like, "I'm out after this year. I'm leaving." Because everyone expected him to be a 3 or 4 year guard. He goes, "Hey, get ready, because I'm out. Like, I'm leaving. They got me projected lottery. I'm gone." So I was like, "Oh shit!" I'm like $150. I'm like, I got to get right, because I started from day one and I wasn't physically ready, but he's just giving me the heads up. And then like so. Kendall, you have then every summer like Raymond Felton comes back, Ty Lawson be back, like Shammond Williams back. He played with like Vince and Antoine and Ed Cota and those guys. Then you got after me like Joel comes in, Kobe White comes in, Cole Anthony. Like we all stay in touch. We're all close. Like we all work out together all the time in Chapel Hill. We all stay in touch on the phone. A lot of us are still really good friends. Like we really try our best to make the Carolina family like a real thing. Everybody talks about brotherhood, talks about family and stuff, but like I know if I need something right now, I can call Marvin Williams and he'll help me. I know right now if Sean May, will reach out to me, see how I'm doing. Like I just saw last year, I ran into one of my teammates, one of my Carolina guys, Marcus Ginyard, Justin Knox. I see guys everywhere. Hey, how you doing? You need anything? How's your wife? Like, it's a real family, and that's a big testament to Coach Williams. Like every summer, we try to get everybody back for 1 week to have a camp game, an alumni game, to go break bread at his house or something, and it makes it really fun and special because like these dudes don't owe you any time or any effort or anything, but they go out of their way, when you're in school or even when you leave to make sure that you feel like you're a part of that. And I think that's what separates Carolina from a lot of the other top schools is like, Kentucky, they don't have that same thing. Like, sure, some of the guys are friends, but like, they're not to the point where like, if you need anything, let me know. I'll take care of you. Like, hey, how's your family doing? How's your son? Like all that kind of stuff. And I'm just happy to be a part of it. I'm happy that I carried the legacy. I got my jersey in the rafters and stuff. Like I lived up to the standard, I guess, in some ways. And I'm just like, I have no regrets for choosing to be a part of it.
I have a question. Okay, so with you starting as a freshman, obviously Jordan went through the same thing, and you kind of went in there. You're young, you're probably naive. You're not, the game's a little faster than high school. Probably seems like. So,
it's completely different.
How was that transition? Being to the starting lineup, being on that court, being on TV, being in front of all those fans. And Jordan, do you have the similar, experience as Marcus has?
Yeah, I mean it's tough. It's tough because I wasn't physically ready. Like mentally, I think I was ready, and I thought I was ready, and then I started struggling, and I got people tweeting at me like, hundreds of tweets after a game, like, "Yo, you suck. You have no reason to wear a Carolina jersey. like, can't believe we brought this guy in. When does the next recruit get here? All that shit. Like, and you know, you're 17, 18 years old. You've never been criticized before like that by thousands of people. Like, you're trending on Twitter for airball and a jumper, or like missing a layup or getting crossed. And it's kind of a lonely feeling. But I think being thrown in the fire really helps, because then by the end of the year, like, nothing could bother me. And I was playing much better. And I'm just thankful that I had an opportunity to get knocked down and have to grow, because that doesn't always happen. Sometimes you get replaced. Sometimes you have to transfer. Sometimes you lose minutes. And I know Jordan can tell you, like, success is never a linear thing. You got to kind of go through it a little bit, especially when you're a freshman and you're playing against grown-ass men. Like, it's just different, man.
You brought up, I'm going to touch on it because you brought up social media, and we've talked about this tons of times, various players, pros, college, all of that. So how did you deal with social media, and how did it affect you mentally? And, you know, as you got older, as you grew as a player, were you able to block it out a little better?
Yeah, I mean, sorry, my sister just FaceTimed me. Just ignore it. I'll get her in a second. Basically, like, we kind of when I came up, Twitter was like 2008, 2009.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it was a couple years. It wasn't what it is now, but it was starting to blow up. You know, obviously, I came to school in 2012. So, like, this is when everyone had a Twitter by now. You know, nobody was like it is now, but Twitter was popping. And social media was hold on one second. Yeah. Social media was exploding. So, like, it was so cool and so new at the time. Like, oh, look, somebody said something about me. Like, I could search my name after a game and see what all these random people said about me. I made a bucket. Let me go see if what's going on. But obviously the bad outweighs the good in that. You have to learn how to, like, handle that, you know, especially at a place like Carolina, where, like, I made an Instagram after my sophomore year, and, like, within 3 months I had like 80K, and I'm like, bro, what is going on? You know, like, it's just different. So I kind of, by the time I got to be a senior, I was kind of ready to be done with the attention part, because after my sophomore year, I was on magazine. Like, I was so at the forefront of the media attention that I kind of got burnt out from it. And then my senior year, when Bryce Johnson kind of, like, burst on the scene, I was able to take a little bit of a back seat, and it was much more my speed. But it's tough, man. I mean, Jordan can talk about it too, because I've seen, you know, I got Iowa fans. I follow Iowa fans. You know, Jordan has a bad game. Jordan sucks. You know, if Jordan hits 6 threes, then is he the best shooter to have ever, you know, like, it's the highs are always high and the lows are like, there's never a middle ground with Twitter. But you'll see Tuesday night, Iowa wins, they'll be like, this team's going to the Final Four.
Yeah.
If they lose, they're gonna be like, we're not ready for the big stage. We're not ready. We can't compete with the Blue Bloods. That's just how it is. And it's like, everybody's so close to the cliff at 1 second and so back in your camp in another, that it's just kind of annoying, man. So, like, I'm thinking about getting rid of Twitter anyway, just because of how toxic it can be at times. And, like, I find it as an energy drain. But when I was younger, every game, after the game you play well, you got to scroll and see how you're doing and stuff. But it's just natural. It's human nature.
Yeah. No, I think that's the biggest thing. Like, even looking, I don't really get on Twitter much. I mean, obviously I tweet still sometimes. When some people do hate tweets, it wasn't as much as it was.
Drop a fire tweet.
Yeah.
Usually, like, junior, sophomore year, like, I was actually, like, heavily, like, I would see what people would say and I would see everything. But now I'm more just taking a seat back, I guess you could say now, just because of, like, Luka's burst on the scene now. I'm kind of just taking a back seat from what it was for my junior year at the end of the NCAA tournament run we had. So it's funny you say the highs and lows, because it's so similar. I mean, what you talked about North Carolina. Yeah, if we win North Carolina, we're going to be are we the best team in the country? We're ready to get to the Final Four, win the national championship. We lose Tuesday. It's the complete opposite, that we're not ready. You know, I'm the worst point guard ever. Luka's can't play against high level competition. It's just crazy just to go from the spectrum, because it's such a huge spectrum that these fans go along as.
And the crazy thing is, like, we just acknowledge that, and it's still going to happen, and it's still going to affect people. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, even though we know that's the culture of social media and just, like, the climate that we play in, you can't help but be mad about it when it happens, you know, like, or elated when it goes the other way. Like, it's just that's the sports world right now.
Yeah, social media is toxic. I mean, we even had Zach Showalter on, played at Wisconsin, and he was like, we've upset so
Bro,
many.
Zach Showalter is one of my least favorite people in the world.
Okay, you got to explain. Okay, that's good. I didn't expect that. Let's get into
Underrated,
that.
underrated, overrated.
Let's get into it.
So yeah, because my sister is friends with him. She played at Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I don't know the guy. He could be a great dude. Doesn't matter to me. Not important. We play Wisconsin in the Staples Center to go to the Elite Eight. This was in the Sweet 16 my junior year, and we're up we're up 6 or 8 points. We're feeling good, and this dude scores like 3 straight buckets. Like he's not very high on the scouting report. He gets a backdoor layup. Then he rips our point guard coast to coast layup. Then he takes a charge and then scores another basket. And they completely flips the momentum and they win the game. And for that, I'll never forgive. I don't know him. I'll never forgive him for ruining my junior year, bro. Like he ruined my junior year more than Mike Gaselle's dunk. So I'd love to hear what he had to say on the show, but I wasn't about to tune in.
Yeah, well, the good news is he follows us, so he'll definitely see this. So anything you want to get off your chest, Marcus, feel free.
Yeah, might as well just keep it coming.
Yeah.
No, that's pretty much it.
All right, let me get into that. You talked about players you don't like. What player did you hate playing against the most in college? Okay, and I don't want a politically correct answer like you're talking to North Carolina media. Which guy did you hate playing against? Whether he's annoying or he gave you buckets or what?
Or just a guy that shouldn't be good. And like he's the guy on the low scouting report, like Zach Showalter, you said. And he just decides to make 5 threes because God knows every college basketball player has games like that.
Dude. Bruh, I can't. For us, it was always somebody on Duke. So it would be like somebody like Marshall Plumlee. We would play, and it's like, okay, we got to key in on Grayson Allen. We got to key in on Brandon Ingram. We got to key in on some of the shooters, on Quinn or on Tyus or whatever. And somebody like Marshall Plumlee will have – okay, let's say he's like a 60% free throw shooter. He goes 9-9 from the line. He's got 4 blocks. Like he gets a dunk and he's screaming, and it's just like, oh, God, why is this happening? Like for me, it was him. And then like when we play like NC State, they're like kind of like they think we're rivals, but we don't treat them as rivals because Coach Williams is like 31-4 against them or something all time. And it's like somebody like, Cat Barber or Tyler Lewis or somebody that hates me because I'm from Iowa and I went to Carolina. So I came into their territory and my teammate right now, Cody Miller McIntyre, played at Wake. First week he gets here, he was like, I hated you, right? Like your whole 4 years. I'm like, damn, what's up, man? How you do? Like, what did I do? And so people like that, I always just love to like shut up. But when they get off against you, it's just like, bro, oh my God. So I don't like
ours.
But then
I'm gonna say mine. Isatham. He played at Rutgers. I think he got arrested. He had a terrorist threat. He had a gun and he had made a terroristic threat. And he had like 5 threes on us the day before he got arrested. So we're like, dude, we just let this dude that threatened to like kill someone just drain 5 threes on us the night before, bro.
Dropping bombs on you, dog. Damn.
Yeah. He's literally dropping bombs on us.
Oh my God, bro. Yo, this dude, mute this man for 10 seconds. Get him out of here.
So I'm gonna. You don't have to answer it because this could be a little controversial. But who is the most overrated college basketball coach, in your opinion, out of the blue blood coaches?
Ooh, see, that's a tough question because like someone can be like viewed as a great coach, but still be overrated. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So
I see the hamster moving. I see you working.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is like certain guys get like because of who they are.
Yeah.
And how much money they have.
And how much talent based on the talent they've brought in,
who they're paying, and
and money,
and strippers.
Let's say, for example, you're a coach that you have 8, 9 McDonald's All-Americans on your roster, and halfway through the season you're complaining about lack of depth,
Oh,
right? Because you're only playing 5 or 6 guys.
yeah.
And then you complain when you got guys transferring out, you got 5 stars that are rotting on your bench.
I see where this
That
is
to me,
going.
it's like, I don't know, man. That's tough to get behind. Like, I might catch hell for this, but like, it's the truth, bro. So, like,
So
that
Coach
to me
K.
is like,
I knew it right away.
frustrating.
I saw you dribbling
It's just
around it.
frustrating because he's such a great coach.
Yeah.
But then, like, I can't remember which year it was. He was complaining about not having depth because he had 1 or 2 guys hurt. It's like, that dude over there is a 5-star. That dude over there is a 5-star. 2 5-stars transferred. Like, you don't think Fran McCaffrey would love to have 5 extra 5-stars at his disposal? Like, so for me, it's like, that's just like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
You can't, like, no one's gonna feel sorry for you. But like last year, like Coach Williams, you wouldn't hear him, like, they had a terrible year. You know, they were 14-19, and it's not like he was throwing his players under the bus. Like, he was like, yo, like, we are trying. We're not a good team, and it's my, like, I'm not giving this team what I need to give them. Like, okay, you can respect that, but it's not like he's like, man, these guys suck. I don't know who brought them here. Like, who you think brought them here? So,
so you mean you don't like
that's
when Coach K doesn't let the players wear the Duke emblem on their jerseys in practice because they have a bad game? So you don't like that? That's not motivating.
I would do things differently, but I haven't won 1,000 games, so I can't really talk.
No, I feel you.
Maybe
No,
one day.
I appreciate the honest answer. You know, we got there eventually, so I appreciate that.
Took a while,
Yeah.
but we got there.
Yeah.
You want to know who? You know who I love? I love Tony Bennett, man. I know, like, he just won a title, but like, man, I love that dude. I think, like, if I had to rank, I'm gonna leave Coach Williams out of this because I'm biased towards him. But I think him and, like, obviously, I think him and Jay Wright are the top 2 coaches in the game. Tony Bennett is putting dudes in the league that weren't necessarily thought of as NBA players. People complain about their style. Those people don't know basketball. Like, okay, they don't play a high possession game, but when you watch the way those players read pin downs, the way they read flares, the way they set up their offense, how efficient they are in a limited number of possessions, the way their bigs hedge ball screens and are perfect on rotations every time. It's like literally a basketball clinic.
Yeah.
So if I'm going underrated, like, the first thing I'm gonna do when I want to be a coach, like, I write down notes. Like, I'm kind of crazy about X's and O's. Like, I love basketball like that. So Fran, holla at me. Yeah, he's gonna take care of a guy that didn't choose him. But like, one of the first things I want to do is go watch a UVA practice because I want to figure out how the hell he gets those guys so connected. And so I'd say he's probably one of my favorites.
It's a circle motion offense, man. That shit's unguardable.
Yeah, but it's only unguardable if you teach your players how to read the game.
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
You know, like, it's, bro, I hate playing against them.
Dude, we played them.
Team, bro. Oh.
We played them in Florida my freshman year, and I was just like,
ran through, right?
Bro, I think I made like a half quarter to push it to get us into double digits in the first half. It was at the buzzer.
Bro,
I think it was like
score against them.
It was 42 to like 11 after the first half. I'm like, bro, what the fuck? We can't score a basket on these guys.
And then you gotta go down and guard them through flare screen, pin down, screen, pin down, side pick and roll, bro. Oh my, it's yeah.
So my last question is gonna be, Jordan's gonna hate me if I don't bring this up, so I got to. What's your opinion on the college athlete, right? And is the student athlete a myth?
Be more specific in the second part of that question. What do you mean, is the student athlete a myth?
Jordan, I'm gonna throw the oop to you. You can finish this.
Okay, so college athlete.
I could talk about this all day.
Yeah,
we could do a whole podcast.
So student athlete, kind of the notion that the student comes first before the athlete. You're there for academics. You're there to provide or to get an education for your school. That is why college athlete is what is the more notable term to be used is college athlete, because you're there to be a college athlete. You're not there to be a student athlete. So
yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So so we talked about a little bit earlier in our podcast how I kind of grew into kind of being a representative for the NCPA with Ramogi, who runs NCPA. And we talk about this all the time, how half these college athletes that are in their schools and their universities have no clue or knowledge on what actually is occurring within the NCAA and how much of a business it is. And obviously you're a smart guy and know the integral details of what goes on behind the scenes. So I know there's a bunch of stories that I've had with going through the NCAA tournament and all the branding that has to occur and stuff like that. Just not a lot of people know from the outside, even in the inside as a college athlete, what really goes on and how the money is made and distributed amongst all the sports and whatnot.
Yeah, man. I mean, the fact that it's, student athlete, obviously academics are important, and in order to preserve the college game, they call us amateurs so that they can differentiate us between professional sports and, deny us pay. I say us as being a former, but deny you the right to make money, which is obviously the biggest injustice out of all of this is like not owning your own likeness. I used to see hundreds of Carolina 5 jerseys in class.
Right.
Like I'd be sitting in econ, like 20 different people got my jersey on. I'm like, bro, I'm trying to get enough money to get Chick-fil-A on the way to class. It's like the exploitative nature of it is so glaring. And I'm glad people are starting to, there's some momentum behind changing that. Obviously, the ruling entity of the NCAA is going to do everything they can to change the narrative and maintain the fact that they're going to have to not pay or whatever. Even though everybody knows the money's there. Basketball, college basketball, college football are profitable. People pay a lot of money to watch. They pay a lot of money to participate, to be around, to bet on. It's there. The money's there. In terms of how the students behave on a day-to-day basis, all you have to do is shadow somebody for a day and tell me that you're not a working professional. Like you wake up, everyone knows the schedule. Like you wake up, you do this, that, and that. You might have a little study hall, you go to classes, but that's just like the supplemental part. Like the way you have to travel, the way you eat, the way you take care of your body, the way you lift, the way you have game film prepared, like it's a full-time job. And for anybody to say, oh, well, they're getting their college paid for, like, okay. So
we're talking about pennies on
okay, you're paying for college, but we're also generating revenue and profits that we're not seeing anything of. And coaches are making millions of dollars. Athletic programs are it's not our problem that we are in a profitable spot and let's say women's rowing or something isn't generating money. That's an issue that the college is going to have to solve. It's not up to the employee to determine that. If you work at a desk job, if you work for some company, it's not your job to make sure that all the departments are taken care of. You're providing your labor for value, and you should be compensated for that value. It drives me crazy. I'm going to be tuned in when Jay Billis talks to you guys about it, because I know you guys will touch on that a lot. And he's one of the biggest vocal people on he always retweets, but there's never enough money, and it's some coach signs some extension and stuff. But I really think that time is it's going to start with the player likeness, being able to profit off your likeness in some way or another, or at least unlocking a little bit of that so players can have a little financial freedom and flexibility. But I hope it turns into something more, because it's not going to kill the game. People are still going to love college sports, but let's not pretend that these kids are something that they're not. That's my biggest thing. It's we're all just pretending that they're amateurs, really.
So
really, Jabari Parker was an amateur.
I would say, okay, so that's a good question, because I'm going to ask this because you are part of a blue blood team, or we're part of, and you've seen the whole environment where bags being put under the table. You don't need to be given any specific example of it. Where bags,
100%. These players, bro, not me. I'm not I play in Europe now. I make a lot of money, cool. But I'm not. I didn't just sign a $150 million deal with Nike or something. Yeah. There's guys that their value is clear from the time they're 15, 16 years old. And so shoe companies, coaches careers are on the line. If you can get a player in your home state, it's worth it to them to drop 50 grand to get a kid. but they shouldn't have to be that way because those kids are worth a ton of money anyway. So if there's a way for them to be compensated for what their value is, it takes away some of the crap that people don't like about college sports. I think it's there. And then the other argument you get is like, well, it's just going to make the haves and the have-nots, the difference that much better. I'm like, bro, where do you think these guys are going? So the guys that go to Kentucky are going to stop going to, like, you know, it's a silly argument. But you always are going to get silly arguments from the entity that doesn't want to change the status quo. That's just always going to be that way. And so you get enough people behind it to change it. And that's in college basketball, and that's in bigger things too.
My favorite argument is when talking about name, image, and likeness, and people talk about how it would be an unlevel playing field if name, image, and likeness would become a law for college athletes to be able to make profit off those three things.
You damn right it would be.
Yeah, but it's already an unlevel playing field. Like Duke have great facilities. You think Western Illinois has shit for their facilities?
Exactly.
Like people want to go to Duke because of facilities and for the history. Like there's already a level playing field that goes on.
And like if like so many people are so into like letting the market sort things out, you think Grayson Allen, who plays for, you know, he's a bench player for a team, you think he's signing the same Adidas deal that James Harden has?
Right.
No, the market has assigned them values, and what you get, what you're worth. Like, you know, so when I was in school, my sophomore year, like, okay, I might have got a little bit more money, or I would have got more sponsorships or a better deal than one of my teammates because I was the main player on the team. But like, that's just kind of how this stuff works. Like, there's nothing stopping that player from getting more. So he's going to get what people, view his value as. So that's just a silly argument. Like, of course, like North Carolina, Duke, Kentucky are going to benefit more from that, but they already benefit from having higher budgets and bigger assets and more connections. And anyway, so.
So to wrap things up and bring everything full circle, what is the biggest misconception of you as a college athlete, you know, as a basketball player, and even, you know, college athletes in general that you think is going on in the world? The biggest misconception.
That's a good question. I think, well, one, I feel like a lot of people, especially in revenue sports, football and basketball, they think that we're not like aware of how much we're given and how much we're like they think we're ungrateful for demanding, you know, what we've been talking about. And I think that's honestly ridiculous. A lot of people are super grateful for their opportunity. Like, those don't have to be mutually exclusive. You can be grateful for the opportunity, but also recognize that there's a level of exploitation that you shouldn't have to be subjected to. And then second, like, bro, we're kids. Like, you know, we're not fully developed, especially like men aren't usually fully developed emotionally, physically, you know, mentally until you're in your later 20s. So like, you got grown men going at 19-year-old, 20-year-olds on, you know, on social media or in general. Like, bro, who are you? Like, you know, that used to really get on my nerves. Like, this is a 20-year-old, 21-year-old who's giving it his all. Like, he doesn't want to suck on national television. Like, yo, like, back off my man's. Like, you know, that's something I've always been like. Obviously, when you sign up for playing at Iowa, you're under a microscope, or playing like you're under a microscope, and you have to deal with that. Like, you're a public figure, you have to deal with criticism. But like, come on, guys. Like, let's chill with we're still kids, man. Like, as much as you think you're a grown man, you still play Fortnite all day. Like, you know what I'm saying? I still do that too. But
that was right at your neck, Jordan. Right at your neck.
You don't play on Warzone?
Nah, not a little bit. I was when I DM'd you on Twitter, I did see our past messages, and you talked about, yo, what is that map you guys play for Fortnite for Zone Wars? Me and my boys are trying to get
No, that was back when I was nice at Fortnite. I played, like, me and Justin Jackson played. We just got done playing Rogue Company. We played PS4. Now he's got PS5. I'm trying to find one out here in Europe, bro. Anybody with the PS5 can hit me. We play all the time. I need to get you on. I need to add you on there. Are you on PC or?
Yeah, I'm on PC now. Yeah.
Okay, I might have to. We're back on Fortnite a little bit, but I suck, so you probably don't want to play with me no more.
No, I'll carry.
We may have to we may have to squat up because I'm better than Jordan. So it'd only be right if
that's
I
not
was-
true.
Why do I feel like that's complete
He,
bullshit?
Yeah,
he knows
Zach.
that's bullshit too, Zach. He knows that's bullshit.
I'm a little cheeks, but it's okay. I've been trying. You know, it's the heart. It's the heart. That's what counts.
You look like you suck at
Hey,
farting.
Zach, are you guys the same year?
I graduated in
Like,
2018, so I'm in between
okay.
you guys. So you're older. I'm the middle, and Jordan's the
Okay.
youngest. So yeah. Well, Jordan is not really the youngest. He's the ninth year there, so it's okay. It's, you know.
Yeah. What? So this is my 5th year out. So this is your 5th year technically, or your 4th?
Yeah, it's my 5th year. Yeah.
Yeah, you are an old head,
Yeah.
bro.
I know.
That's crazy.
We got a free year next year. Everyone trying to get me back for 6th year.
What you
No one wants you back with your bad
you
hip. With the walker up the court, spotting up.
I got two good hips now. 2 good hips now.
Hey,
Zach.
do you know how many I don't know if we're running still or whatever. How many threes have you made in your career?
You know, shut up. You know.
No, I it's like mid 200s.
How many more do you need for the record?
I'm at like 300, I think.
300. What's the record?
364, 374.
Is that the NCAA record or the Iowa record?
No, I got the Iowa record junior year.
Yeah, no big deal. That was junior year, Marcus. My bad. Iowa record.
NCAA
That's Big
record?
Ten. That's Big Ten.
Damn.
Yeah, I don't know what that
with
NCAA is.
299. I finished with 299. I think the UNC record before was like 240 or something. So I got that. But like everybody that's good enough just leaves early. So I stuck around long enough to get the record.
That's the reason why Jordan's
and then I got pissed. That's another reason I was pissed about the national title game. Like, can we get to overtime so I can get 300? So just give me a clean 300, bro. My teammates are selfish, bro.
Well, Marcus, man, we really
wait. We got one more question, Zach. We got one more question before you wrap it up. You got to ask about the prediction for Tuesday.
Oh, so what do you think's gonna happen Tuesday? I mean, I think we know what you're gonna say.
So I've watched every Carolina game.
Honest assessment.
I haven't seen you guys play yet. No, I haven't seen you guys play. I know you guys are good, and I've seen highlights from the National Player of the Year. But I think I don't.
No bias.
I hope you're not watching.
Say whatever you want. No bias.
Carolina's young, and
I smell excuses.
Inexperienced. And no. I'm breaking it down.
All right.
And it depends on how Caleb Love and RJ Davis play. Like when they play well, like they're both freshmen. They're our guards. They're going to play the majority of the minutes. If they can play well, I like the matchup because we have Garrison Brooks, All-American, 7-footer. Sharp is a top 15 guy, and Armando Bacot's a great. Like that's 4 big guys we can throw at guards. Like that's gonna be so fun to watch. You got the best big guy in the country, and then you got like the 4-headed monster that Carolina throws at you. Like, so it's gonna come down to if Jordan.
Well, driving kicks.
The backcourt.
Hey, Jordan better not be broke.
It's just like a story. So yeah, get your jumper right. But honestly, like swear, I know I talked about this earlier. Like I really have enjoyed watching you play. People don't know how much the Bohannon family and the Paige family have like intertwined through this basketball thing. Like your brother came to my senior night at Carolina, and he wrote me a letter, and it was one of the most touching and heartfelt things that I've ever received from somebody who I've played with or has been a friend of mine. Like, yeah, he went out of his way to do that. Your other brother had welcomed me to Linn-Mar when I transferred in. He didn't have to do that. Your oldest brother was a big inspiration for me. I've been following you forever. I was rooting for you to beat my scoring record in high school. Like, you were real
There's
close.
no chance I was gonna get that.
No, you were pretty close, bro.
Yeah. I just needed to make state
for
one
real,
year.
Exactly. You guys didn't suck. But really though, it's been fun for all of this to happen, and now you like, I'm super happy for you to get a chance to be on a team that has a chance to do something special. It's never guaranteed. Like I went to Carolina for 3 years. We really didn't have anything. Like we got a Sweet 16. In my senior year, everything came together, and it was the most fun I ever had in my life. Like every single day in the locker room was so much fun, going on road trips, being the best. you know, the deep tournament run and everything. Like, I hope you get to experience all that because you deserve it. You've worked hard. Like, you've kind of helped put Iowa on the map as a kid, a local kid. Like, it's all cool, man. Like, my dad is a huge fan. Like, I'm not even joking about this stuff. And Iowa fans might think I'm like, you know, kissing up or bullshit or anything, but like, you know, and people that know me know. So I just really hope, like, I don't want you guys to win Tuesday. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. Like, those are my boys, but I really hope you guys have a special year, and I'm going to be watching as much as I can and following along. So it's been fun, bro.
Yeah, for real. I appreciate that. You know how much that you've inspired me to become the basketball player I am today. And I know Zach has done everything he can to try to keep being part of your life and try to be a mentor when you were younger, especially at Limar. So like you said, our families are definitely intertwined for life. And I appreciate that everything that you have represented the state of Iowa and continue to represent the state of Iowa and continue to be, you know, friends with our family. It's been quite the ride for sure.
Yeah, man. It's all good, man. It's all love.
Yes, sir.
We really
Zach, it was nice to meet you, dog.
Nice to meet you, man, too. I appreciate you coming on.
The somewhat slightly overrated host now.
Slightly overrated.
Massively overrated to slightly overrated. So
it's okay.
You've improved,
I have a nice jumper, so you know Jordan may catch that one.
that ain't true. That ain't true.
May go with that Johnny Bravo hair.
Also, Zach Showalter, if you're watching, Zach Showalter.
We'll tackle.
I'm sorry, bro. we just gonna have to be at odds, man. I know you don't know me, and I don't know you, but
we'll get you. We'll get
enemy.
we'll get you on a podcast. They're a quick, like 5-minute review guy talking about the game, and then that will be able.
Yeah.
Jordan will be the mediator, so that'll be good.
Yeah, just show the clip of him going coast to coast. I'll just throw.
So thank you again, Marcus. Really appreciate you taking the time. For those who don't know, Marcus is out in Serbia. He's on the other side of the world, so really appreciate him taking the time to come out here and, you know, deal with all these difference in time zones and stuff like that. So we appreciate you, man. A lot of good stories. We appreciate how honest you were with everything. You know, I'm not going to lie. I thought you may not be completely honest, a little more PC with the stuff. So I appreciate you, man. You completely honest. You let it all out there, and you know, it made for a good show.
I just call it how it is, man. Yeah.
So
you guys seem like you guys are doing a real cool thing here. Like, it'd be an injustice to come on here and not speak the truth a little bit. So it's cool. I might need to go back and watch a couple of. You guys have had some pretty cool guests on. Like I said, I'm going to tune into the Jay Billis one. So should be good stuff, man.
Yeah, so we appreciate it. Thank you again. For everyone out there, keep listening to the podcast. Keep subscribing, 5-star reviews, everything like that, and keep out for our YouTube video. We have a video coming out probably pretty soon of Jordan reading tweets. A lot of meme tweets to him. So Marcus, you'll like that. So you'll just peep the Twitter. We'll drop you a follow and you'll see that. So thank you guys again for everything. And see you guys next week.